Hiya! Today I'm really excited to share this video with you because I've got 3 bullet journal tips to help make your bullet journal journey just a little bit more easy and enjoyable.
I love this ruler. This is great. I think this is actually from our teaser. Well, it says Morn Sun quilting ruler. This is a quilting ruler, obviously. Um, and they're great. They're really great. I love that I can sort of see through it and it's got all the extra bits. What would be even better would be if they made one where there were lines for each dot. Someone make that, please. Someone make where it sections off each dot so you can sort of work it out. Anyway, a dedicated bullet journal ruler.
So first up we have this specific ruler just for bullet journals, and it's a DIY, and I honestly do not know why I didn't think of doing this sooner. It's just so helpful and makes setting things up so much easier. So I'm going to show you how to make one. So first you want to go to the different signatures in your bullet journal, excuse me, and find where one of the centerpieces are bound. Inside you should be able to see the stitching, the sort of the binding that keeps the bullet journal together, and that's where you want to pull it out. Now you don't want to just yank it like this because it's putting a lot of pressure on that binding. So what you want to do is put your finger down on that and then pull to, cause minimal damage. I know pulling pages out of your journals like sacrilege. So then you want to get your paper trimmer if you have one. Obviously you can just do this with a pen if you want to, but here I'm going to mark out where I want to trim it. So I'm going to take this first section off because I don't want that curvy corner, and then I'm going to go 5 squares down. So I've got 5 squares, and I'm going to do another one just in case. It's always a good idea to do another in case you make mistakes, because trust me, they happen. So I'm trimming that edge bit off that I don't want, and then I'm going to trim up the 2. And the good thing about this is it's already the exact size of your bullet journal. So, it's a perfect custom bullet journal ruler. Oh! So now you want to mark in your halfway point. You don't have to do this, but I think this is so helpful. So you can mark in your halfway point on one side of the ruler, and then I'm also sectioning it into quarters. That way, if I ever want to half it or quarter the page, I can see exactly where those lines fall straight away. I don't have to count them all out. Then I'm doing just a sort of classic ruler look down one side, and this is on the opposite side of the ruler. So obviously you can use both sides of the paper. And this is going to make sure you're able to see exactly how many squares you're working with on your page. And like I was saying before about making mistakes, I made the long line in the wrong place. So maybe do it in pencil first. But because, I used the Tipexy thingy because this is just for a tutorial, so it doesn't matter if I donk it up a little bit. So it's not perfect, but it doesn't have to be. I made myself another one. And it's as simple as that. There is your custom bullet journal ruler. But you might want to, because it's just a piece of paper, it's very flimsy, and obviously it's going to get some wear and tear. So there are 2 ways that you can possibly protect it. There's probably more. Actually, I've thought of 3. One of the ways is to laminate it. There's a couple of downfalls to laminating. Number 1, you might not have a laminator, and number 2, you have to leave this sort of edge down the side of it, which can make drawing the lines a bit tricky because sometimes you're trying to draw it where the actual paper ends and then you end up doing it where the laminate ends. So the other way you can do, that way is definitely sturdier. The other way you can do it is to wrap it in sellotape so that the edges are flush. So you've got the edge right up to where the paper finishes, which can make it a lot easier. The other thing I thought of was if you wanted to make it a bit thicker, you could tape it to an actual ruler and do it that way, but you'd have to find one that's sort of a decent size. So that's where you get cat hair stuck in the sellotape. So make sure you don't do it around cat hair and stuff. And then I'm folding it along the edge to get it as close to that edge as I possibly can. And then I just trim it up, trim the edges off, and do it along the other side as well. And then to give it some extra strength, I've gone down the middle as well with a really long piece, which was trickier than I thought it was going to be because sellotape kind of sticks to everything. So I did end up picking some different things up onto my sellotape, such as my pen. So just make sure you've got a nice easy clear surface because it makes it a hell of a lot easier. And I'm not doing this really neatly at the minute because it's just for, to show you what I'm on about. But yes, that is a bullet journal ruler, and it's so helpful. I can't believe I haven't done this before. So if you're setting up a spread and you want to know what what size squares and boxes and lines you're using, you can just look at your ruler and right there it's 4 for each square, it's 20 squares down. There's none of this counting it out and then forgetting where you are and then recounting it, because I do that a lot. And then one of my favorite things is you can see exactly 30 or 31 for your month, if you're doing trackers and things or anything like that, and you know exactly where it falls. You can also use it as a little bookmark in your bullet journal if you so wish. Now you could make these prettier with maybe adding some washi and stuff, but for me these are perfect. They just do the job and I love it. So yes, that's my first tip. My second tip is this erasable smart notebook. It's so good. It was sent to me, and I'll leave the links in the description so that you can get one. This isn't sponsored or anything, it was just sent to me, so I was using it. I'm trying to show you the things underneath, so I used the magic of editing to flip it because I couldn't fit it with my camera setup desk thingy. So inside, what you have here is an erasable notebook, and this one is dotted, and it's really clever. You'll see in just a second. So in the first page, it gives you all the instructions on, care and erasing and storage, and how to download the app for it and all that sort of stuff, scanning your notes and things. And then obviously you've got your cover page, and then I've got a Memo bullet journal, and it's a standard measurement for the squares and dot spacing and stuff. I'm pretty sure most other bullet journals have the same, I think. But with this book, you've got exactly the right amount of squares to make what would be a double page layout setup. It's got the erasable marquee thingy on the end of the lid, which is handy because on this one, if you put the lid on the end, the erasable bit's gone, and I always have my lids on the end. So with this, it's really handy because it's always there, and then I can scrub it out. Ta-da! Not that I make this line much better, to be honest. It's still pretty rough. But yeah, it's so clever. You can start, say you want to try out some different spreads or some different layouts and experiment with it. You can do it on here, and if you don't like it, you can erase it and start again. You don't have to mess around in your bullet journal and mess it up. So like here, you also get these little thingies with it. Yeah, I've sort of made up a spread plan thing because I wanted to test it out. And then I'm trying to rub it out. I'm so used to it being on the end of the pen. So you can either rub out little bits like this, or if you want to get rid of all of it in one go because you don't want to be rubbing out little bits for the rest of the day, you can get hairdryer, and look at this. Heat it up and it all disappears, and you've got like a fresh new page to be able to plan out a new layout. If you're going to do this often, it might be a good idea to what's it called, when you section off your pages, do it in permanent pen, and then you've always got that. Bearing in mind, if you do use the hairdryer, you're probably going to lose some of the pages underneath if you fold the book like this, because the heat's going to go through and transfer. But yeah, it's really, really handy. I've used it loads already to make some different spreads, so I love it. Yay! The third and final tip is this one. It's an electronic memo pad. I'd never seen one of these before, but it's a bit like a grown-up's Etch-a-Sketch, because it comes with a pen. And here comes the pussycat. So it's got a special stylus, and you click to clear the screen. It's got a replaceable battery, a lock key, delete key, and it is 10 inches inside. Felicity approves. So I got a pink one. They sent me a nice pink one. And on the back it's got the little black bits which stop it from sliding all over your desk. On the bottom you've got where the battery goes, and then this button here is to lock the screen. So if you don't want to accidentally erase everything you've written, you put it on lock. So here you can see that I'm using it just to write down, and I've been using this on my bedside table because at night sometimes I get all these ideas or worries or things that I think, oh, I should have written that down in my bullet journal, and then I struggle to sleep. Watch this, ready, unlock it, and then click, gone. So I've been using it at night. So rather than wasting loads and loads of little different pieces of paper with notes and stuff that can get lost and end up flying about and that you might not look at again, you can use it to like a brain dump. And the best thing about it is because you have to erase everything to reuse it, it means you have to go back and revisit those notes that you actually took, so they don't get lost. You have to go back, look at them, and then decide what to do with them. Do they have to go in the bullet journal, or can they just be gotten rid of? But you have to deal with the notes that you left yourself. You can't just leave it lying around somewhere. It's also really handy because you could practice your calligraphy and stuff on it. Ta-da! So yes, those are my 3 tips to make bullet journaling a little bit easier. I'll make sure I leave the links to the 2 products in the description, and I hope you found some of this helpful. I shall see you in the next video, and have a lovely day. Bye!